Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're doing something a little different. We are completely ditching the Hollywood myths to uncover the biological reality of sharks. And honestly, the truth is way more fascinating and, yeah, maybe a little terrifying than anything you've seen on the big screen. Let's just jump right in.
People, she's ugly! She seems to me like a prehistoric monster. That's how fisherman Carl Moore described the goblin shark. And honestly, can you blame him? Dwelling 200 meters deep in the ocean, it literally looks like an absolute nightmare. But this isn't some CGI creation, it's a real-world biological marvel.
Pop culture has basically spoon-fed us what we call sharksploitation. It all started back in 1975 when Jaws gave the entire world collective aquaphobia. Then came the mutant, super-smart sharks in 1999's Deep Blue Sea, the really grim realism of open water in 2003, all the way to absolute peak absurdity with Sharknado in 2013.
But here's the thing. Ditch the CGI. Forget the movie magic. The real, actual, biological superpowers of these apex predators are so much more intimidating and incredible than fiction.
Okay, get this number in your head. 74. As in 74 kilometers per hour. That is the top hunting speed of the mako shark. Nature literally engineered an absolute biological torpedo. I mean, you are not outswimming that. No way.
But when we talk about actual threats to humans, it really comes down to the big three predators. First, you have the great white, a coastal hunter capable of these crazy warm-blooded bursts of speed. Then, the tiger shark, cruising tropical waters and famously eating, well, garbage and turtles. And finally, the highly aggressive bull shark, which has this extreme and frankly terrifying freshwater survival trait.
Now, forget that whole mindless eating machine trope you see in the movies. A great white hunt is actually a highly calculated 5-stage process. They don't just attack blindly. It goes detection, then identification, approach, the attack itself, and finally, consumption. It's incredibly systematic.
And they're highly intelligent. Have you ever heard of spy hopping? It's this behavior where great whites will literally lift their heads right above the water's surface just to better catch scents. Why? Because smells actually travel much faster in the air than they do in the water. It's just genius.
So let's look at the motive. Hollywood wants you to think these man-eaters crave human flesh and, seek personal revenge. But the biological reality? It's usually just mistaken identity. Most bites are actually just exploratory test bites. Think about it. They don't have hands, so a bite is how they feel what something is.
And why the test bite in the first place? Well, if you look up from below the surface, a surfer paddling on a board looks exactly like a seal. It's just a really tragic case of mistaken visual identity.
Now, if you're thinking, hey, I'm safe, I'll just stay out of the ocean, well, meet the bull shark. They hunt in some wildly unexpected places. We're talking the Ganges River in India, Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana, the Amazon River, and even flooded suburban streets in Queensland.
Actually, remember the infamous New Jersey attacks of 1916? The ones that actually inspired the novel Jaws? Those occurred deep inland in a freshwater creek. And because of that, experts think the real culprit was likely a bull shark, not a great white.
How do they do it? It's a biological superpower called osmoregulation. Basically, bull sharks can maintain a constant internal salt balance, which allows them to just effortlessly survive and hunt in completely fresh water. It's a total game changer for a marine predator.
Then we have the tiger shark. Researchers literally call its stomach an ocean garbage can. These guys are the ultimate opportunistic scavengers. They will eat absolutely anything. Sea turtles, dolphins, sure, but also tires, license plates, you name it.
Now, while movies definitely exaggerate, we do have to acknowledge that true historical nightmares are real, like the tragic sinking of the USS Indianapolis during World War II. Hundreds of stranded, exhausted sailors unfortunately fell victim to opportunistic oceanic sharks in what is still a completely horrifying real-life event.
Because of incidents like that, we've actually been tracking data for a very long time. The International Shark Attack File started recording incidents way back in 1580. That is centuries of hard science and data collection that we can use to replace our blind fear. And what does that centuries-old data tell us? It gives us a massive reality check. You are statistically far, far more likely to be killed by a lightning strike than by a shark attack. The odds aren't even close. That said, human behavior is kind of messing with those odds. Take ecotourism, like cage diving in Australia and South Africa.
By constantly chumming the water with fish to attract the sharks, we're actually creating these really dangerous associative links. We're accidentally training these top predators to associate humans and boats with an easy meal.
But let's be absolutely clear about the biological bottom line. We are not on the menu. Humans are way too bony. We totally lack the rich, dense blubber that marine mammals have, which is what sharks actually need to survive. We're basically a terrible meal for them.
So, if we're statistically safe, and we aren't even good food, why does that dark shadow beneath the waves still terrify us so much? Well, maybe it's because the second we step into the ocean, we're stepping off the top of the food chain. We aren't the masters there. We're just clumsy, fragile visitors in their ancient domain. Definitely something to think about before your next beach trip. Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and we'll see you next time.